Hello everyone, thanks for joining us on Business Incorporated on Channels Television. I am Bisi Adebayo. Coming up, Saudi Aramco CEO confirms the company's plan to go public in 2018 remains on track. Plus, Spire Healthcare rejects £1.2 billion takeover offer from South Africa-based Mediclinic. Plus, Bahrain, Kuwait and the United Arab Emirates agree to lift a ban on imports of Egyptian agricultural products. Let's kick off from the stock markets in Africa, where Nigeria's all-share index is pointing southwards with a 0.19% decline at intraday. The South African burst is up 0.21%, while in Egypt, the blue chip index gained 0.92% at intraday. And in the Middle East, Emma properties weighed on Dubai stock market in early trade on Monday for the second day in a row, while Saudi Arabia was dragged down by the banking and insurance sectors. The Dubai index lost 0.7% as Emma fell another 2.0% after losing 2.1% on Sunday. In Saudi Arabia, the index was dragged down by the banking and insurance sectors and fell 1.47% despite strong earnings from NCB, which is the kingdom's largest lender. Qatar's index was down 0.5% after U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson, who arrived in Doha on Sunday, said there was little chance of a swift breakthrough to resolve a blockade imposed on the Gulf state by Saudi Arabia and its Arab allies. The Qatar National Bank, which is the biggest bank in the Middle East, lost 1.1%. And the European markets were mixed in early trade today as investors monitor fresh corporate earnings and await any further developments from Spain's ongoing constitutional crisis. Well, the markets are also reacting after Japanese Prime Minister Abe came out with a big victory in Sunday's election. Well, for more on the European markets, let's talk to Daniel Koop, who's at the Frankfurt Stock Exchange. It's good to see you, Daniel. Well, Prime Minister Abe is in Japan with a big victory on Sunday's election. What can the European markets expect after his latest victory? Okay, we understand that Daniel is not yet ready for us, but moving on now, let's go to the U.S., where stock futures inched higher on Monday, setting Wall Street on track for a round of fresh records as traders continue to cheer the prospects for tax reforms and a better-than-expected earnings season. Futures for the Dow Jones Industrial Average gained 0.09% to 23,297, while those for the S&P 500 index also rose 0.09% to 2,575.75. Futures for the Nasdaq added 0.17% to 6,120.5. So Daniel Koop is back with us from the Frankfurt Stock Exchange to tell us what's happening in the European market. So Daniel, I was asking that the Prime Minister Abe in Japan came up with a big victory on Sunday. What can the market expect after his latest victory and, of course, even more power in Parliament?
Well, hello from Frankfurt. Yeah, I can tell you from the investors' perspective here in Europe that investors were very happy with the result coming in from Japan. Some investors are calling Mr. Abe and his policy already the Abenomics effect. What this means, because they are calling his policy in general very business-friendly, very friendly also for foreign companies to do business with Japan, and also very good for the export business of the country. We know that Japan is a country that relies and depends very much on the export business. So today we saw the 21-year high of the Nikkei index at the Tokyo Stock Exchange in Japan. And of course, investors are wondering what this is now all going to mean from the investors' perspective. Most likely, we can expect that his policies that he has been following throughout his last term is going to continue during the next 4 years, which means mostly that, for example, the Bank of Japan is most likely going to continue their policy of pumping every year billion of US dollars in the economy. And of course, again, new projects for infrastructure. Now that he now even has a more majority in the parliament, we can be pretty much sure that all those efforts and things that he wanted to get through in the last time will also continue in the coming years.
Now, let's talk about the Catalonia crisis. What's the latest update? And of course, how is it impacting on the markets today?
Yeah, this is something that many investors here are keeping a very close eye on this. I guess you can see it in the background. We actually started already very positive. This was the boost that we got from Japan. We were again over the 13,000 psychology point mark. Then it was a little bit dropping. And now again it's going up because we are hearing from the Catalonian side that now they're going to make on Thursday another decision how all of this is going to continue. I can tell you that investors are worried because there is so much uncertainty going on how this problem is going to be solved. Pretty much there is this fear that this could result into even some clashes between people in Barcelona and police also from Spain. So lots of uncertainty, and you can feel that investors are a little bit hesitating to do big investments at this point.
Now, it's a week with lots of quarterly earnings reports coming and also the ECB meeting on Thursday. So tell us, just before you go, Daniel, what will be driving the market this week on your end?
Yeah, this is going to be a very, very busy week, I can tell you, busy. Lots of agendas are on the table here. On the one hand, you just mentioned the ECB meeting going to take place now on Thursday here again in Frankfurt, just a few blocks away from where I am at the moment. Again, all the eyes will be again on Mario Draghi, what he's going to say about the monetary policy of the European Central Bank. We know that investors have been crying for such a long time to change this 0% interest rate policy that the European Central Bank has been following throughout the last time. We don't expect this to happen on Thursday, but we do get reports also from insiders who are saying that most likely he is going to announce another cut of the bond purchasing program of the European Central Bank from right now 60 billion euros a month down now maybe to 30 billion euros a month. So that's a big topic. Then you mentioned it also, earning reports from companies such as Lufthansa, BASF, Deutsche Börse, also Volkswagen coming in that could give here the blue chip index DAX another boost, maybe even going up in the 13,000 point range. And just a little time ago, just a few moments ago, we also heard that we might know who's going to be the new head of the Federal Reserve in the United States. Also a topic that is driving the market, and investors are wondering who could be the new head of the Fed. Three people are still in the race. I can tell you Jeremy Powell, one of them, then the economy professor John Taylor, and of course the current head of the Fed, Janet Yellen. When you talk to investors, they're telling me that they feel that most likely current Fed Governor Jeremy Powell is going to get the job. He has been kind of following the policy that Janet Yellen also has been following throughout the last time. But of course, we know that Donald Trump is always good for a surprise. So at the end, it could be even again Janet Yellen that he has been criticizing a lot throughout his campaign trail for keeping interest rates at a very low level. So let's see, a very interesting week certainly ahead of us.
So let's wait to see the surprise. Well, thanks, Daniel, for those updates, and see you again tomorrow.